Happy Thanksgiving! It's almost Thanksgiving. I've never been the biggest fan of Thanksgiving, so I thought we could chat. And then I'm gonna do my makeup while I chat, so I have something to do. I'm very thankful. Let's get that started. I famously have an eating disorder. Hello. I have an eating disorder. I'm a picky eater. I can't eat a lot at one time, so it's just like sticky situation. I almost died this week, so let's give me some grace and however this video goes. Let's start at the beginning, I guess. I've probably always had an eating disorder. I had stomach problems my entire life. I had probably my first diagnosis and probably my only one really with my stomach is stomach migraines, and then nothing since then. Yeah, I've had health issues my whole life, and when I was little, probably in preschool, I had Child Protective Services come to my house because they didn't think my parents were feeding me. Let's set this straight. My parents feed me anything I could possibly want because of my issues. And then I guess I've just always been underweight and stuff, but we just been like, okay, eat. And that's been it for years and years and years. Just eat. Then when I got really sick, I've been to a lot of GI doctors, stomach doctors, and one specifically diagnosed me with an eating disorder. Okay, so we're at the doctor. He says you need to be this amount of weight. If not, boom, you're getting a tube, feeding tube. I got sent to rehab. I want to do like fall makeup. I need to like seriously like, I don't know. There was one out of state I was gonna go to, but because of my other medical issues, I really couldn't go into treatment. I'd have to do part-time treatment. The next process was kind of finding a place that would take me part-time. And so I just kept getting rejected because I wouldn't do full-time, which is like, I get it. Because when you need treatment, you need the treatment, but it's like, okay, but like, can we meet halfway? I need that. I can't do the full treatment, but I need treatment. So can I just get a little bit of help? You know, like it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird system. I'm in rehab, and shout out Renfrew. And I was diagnosed with Arfid, which is basically more so, let me dumb it down, picky eater disorder. You're anxious about eating because of how it will make you feel. You're scared of textures and stuff like that. Okay, it stands for Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. An eating disorder characterized by a person significantly limiting the amount of variety of food they eat, which can lead to nutritional deficiencies, weight loss, or impaired growth. Which basically for me was a mixture of textures and just scared of new tastes. And then also scared because of how it makes me feel. My stomach, it hurts. Physically hurts me to eat. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this makeup, so we're just going for it. And I was really scared to go to a place because of my eating disorder felt so different from everyone else because I had no body issues. So I was just like, I'm not gonna fit in. I don't know if they're gonna be able to help me, but we went. My community was amazing, and I've had so many foods, so many new foods. Like my favorite thing I always say about therapy is my favorite thing they gave me was my therapist and Chipotle. Thank you. And so, while I was very different from most of the people there, I did have my separate group. There would be certain days a week where I would have a virtual meeting with other people with Arfid. That I didn't really enjoy, but it probably helped. I just wanted to be healthy growing up, so I've only ever wanted to be bigger, so I've never really had that bad of body images. Because obviously I wanted to be bigger, but it was never about the body, it was more about the scale for me, I guess. So it was nice to hear other people because I personally, I was just like, I obviously felt bad for people who had body. This sounds crazy, but hear me out. I obviously felt bad for people who had body problems, but I was also just like you're fat phobic. It's just not clicking in my head. I was like, why are you so scared to be bigger? But which I really love about being in my rehab was being able to hear other voices and kind of understand a little bit more of how it affects other people. Because I'll still be thinking like when people like say things that are just like, I'm more empathetic about it now. And I also think it has a lot to do with taking space and women taking up space. The fall makeup isn't turning out that good. Should I do like an acorn? But I never really liked Thanksgiving, but I also really loved it because there would be times where I'd just be so proud of myself because I'd eat so much. I just thought of the freaking lore drop I just dropped right now. And I guess I just wanted to talk about these things, especially in general for people who are facing these same things, whether it be eating disorder or having an eating disorder and not thinking you will be able to fit in because your eating disorder isn't how you think of eating disorders, you know? And then especially for Thanksgiving, a day of food, I want everyone to enjoy the day and also not only enjoy it by feeling okay eating, but also just feeling okay in themselves. Okay, so obviously my issues aren't body related, but I'm gonna talk about it because a lot of people do have those issues. I've been insecure, of course, as most people do. I guess currently what I look like isn't my most important thing about me. I post on the internet without getting ready at my craziest, and I'm just like, this is me. It's more about what I'm doing than what I'm looking like. So it's like, who the heck cares? Party. And then also probably having to do with the fact that I was probably disgusting for most of my life because of my sicknesses and just not being able to do anything, just rotting in bed and in hospitals and, you know. So it's just like, I'm alive. What I look like doesn't compare to how I feel, and I should be living my life. You know, like I have a chance to now live my life. I'm not gonna stay home and look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh my god. Which is very much a privilege, thankfully. This isn't gonna... And then also I've had the privilege of, because society is more towards thin, just also easier for me and more of a privilege for me to not have these insecurities. So it's a lot easier for me to sit here and say, as the beauty standard. No, but seriously, it's also just like a lot easier for me to just not have these insecurities, but also it's just like, is that really what you need to be focusing on? Like, not the worst thing ever. Okay, maybe. And I hope I am able to, oh my god, Stranger Things. Okay, that's something. That's something you can look forward to. If you feel like you don't deserve support, you absolutely do. There's a lot of people, like most people, when they go into therapy and rehab, they don't think that they are like sick enough. And then most people who don't go into rehab don't go into rehab because they don't think they're sick enough. You don't need, there's no, if you need help, you can get help. If you want help, you can get help. It doesn't matter. And if you're like me, which you don't feel like you have an eating disorder, and it's just like, or you do feel you have an eating disorder, but you don't think that you will find the community and support because your eating disorder is different than what you assume, then just like voice that to whoever you're speaking with to get help. And trust me, any place, well, not any place, okay. Most places should be in your best interest. They'll want to help you. And they can help you. They have the resources to help you. They should. That's their job. I hope my makeup turns out good. And And I hope that you enjoy Thanksgiving. I hope you are able to, because you deserve to have a feast. You deserve to have a feast. You deserve to feel good about yourself. Okay, and let's just say this didn't turn out how I wanted it to. Most boring makeup ever, but it's fine. You really can't do anything without food. You're not gonna think straight. You're not gonna function. So that's really the biggest and the first step. You're not gonna think straight. You're gonna be, and then you're not gonna have the food. Your thinking's gonna get even crazier. You're gonna go through different types of eating disorders. It's gonna get crazy. And then when you don't feel well, if you don't eat, like if your stomach hurts, that's why you're not eating. And then you don't eat, other parts of you and or your stomach will also hurt, even if you don't eat. So it's just like a cycle. Your stomach hurts because you're not eating, and you're not eating because your stomach hurts, you know? The hardest part is eating. And so maybe it would be easier if we only had to eat once a day. But we have to eat 3 times, more than 3 times a day. And it's just like constantly in my head. I don't get a time to relax. All I have to think is what I'm having next. What I'm having next. But it gets better. Life gets better. Sure, I have to eat and it's not going to sit well. But then you're like, but there's cake pops, which makes eating okay. And I thought so. I guess specifically with eating disorders, it's just very much one look, one feeling, one process, one way. It varies, but also it's all connected in a way that you can get support from other people. Like, I want you to know there are other options, but I want you to also know that because you have a different type than the main type, you will still be able to fit in and get support and relate to other people. You know? And I hope you feel amazing. Recovery is possible. I know, because look at me. And if it is like a body thing, I wish I could speak more on that, but I don't feel like I'm best suited for it, you know? I am obviously a girl. I'm obviously a person in this world. Obviously, I still feel bad about myself, physically, mentally, but it's just not something I enjoy dwelling over. So, of my best abilities, I try not to. And for the most part, I think it works. I have other things to focus on, fortunately and unfortunately, so that's not really my main thoughts most of the time. I guess if you need help with body image or anything that you're insecure about, then get busy. Get a job. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, really focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, because trust me, nobody's most important and best trait and quality and best thing about themselves is how they look. Because Daisy, she puts up a very strong argument. She's the cutest thing in the world, but also we love her because she has the best personality ever. The sweetest, sassiest. I know y'all can't compete with Daisy, but let her be a token for you to inspire to be. Everyone needs to have a deep conversation with themselves and go inside the deepest of themselves and figure out who they are and realize that you are not who you are. You are not what you look like. Is there a quote? That's something like that? You are what you eat.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I shouldn't say